and if they expect me to walk away from Luton with nothing, I'll make very sure there's nothing to walk away from.
Hello and welcome back to the Oak Road Hatter podcast. I'm Billy Mully, today joined by Jamie Castle ahead of Brentford versus Luton Town. We were speaking off air there, Jamie. Not the best of memories when we speak about West London up until around last Christmas time, where Alfie Doughty scored that absolute rocket. How are you today?
Yeah, pretty good. Still cold. As you say, that 7-0 still haunts us somewhat, but I think the mitigating circumstance there is Graham Jones, and since then we've not really put in a performance as bad as that. That performance was just awful. The chance of the Ian Roper song was probably the highlight of the day, and when that's the highlight of your day, you know how bad it is. Other than that, yeah, just really excited for this weekend. My 70th of the 92 to tick off, and a really good chance for Luton to claim back-to-back Premier League wins. So yeah, feeling positive.
Yeah, we're often positive on this podcast. We try to be, at least. We do travel with confidence. I think winning any Premier League game, it gives you that real boost that you can go into any game. And you know, I think even if you look back to Liverpool games, Liverpool, Manchester United performances have been strong, but when you do secure all 3 points, it gives you that different kind of feeling going into the next game, because you see what it does to the table. You see how it brings other teams into play, and that's exactly what last weekend's win has done. So we do travel with confidence come Saturday, Jamie.
Yeah, and it's hard to not be confident. I mean, most people saw Barkley's Instagram story. Pelly, as always, did a bit of a sort of Pleat-esque dance in the changing room. And yeah, the win just lifts everyone right. And I think performances on the whole we've been pleased with today. It's more just finding a way to win, and Palace was just that. It was finding a way to win. And that Barley Everton game is what's been missing on the road. I think United away, overall the performance was very good, but we just couldn't quite find that way to win. So hopefully, as each game passes, we just keep learning. And for me now, it's more that mental side of the game, that mental blocker of in the final third, just knowing what pass to pick. And Monday Night Football rightly picked out the sort of the Barkley role in the winner against Palace, where he just didn't lose his head and managed to find Shearer in space, who then put in a wonderful ball into Brown for the winner. And it's just having that brain in the right moment. And I think sometimes it's actually underestimated how big that mental side is. And the mental side is always easier. The brain fog is always easier to clear when you're confident and in high spirits. So I think that just adds to why I'm fairly positive, despite obviously Brentford being still a really good team, still a tough place to go, and certainly to go and get all 3 points. But I'm still positive despite who we are playing at the weekend.
And it was a weekend where everything that possibly could have gone right went right. I think that probably adds to the sort of feel-good factor coming into this Brentford game. Jamie, going on to the hosts, they've moved into their shiny new stadium. They're enjoying life. They're a team that a lot considered as a potential role model for us. They've long recruited fantastically well, used data to their benefit for a number of years. But yeah, there's success after success story with how they've brought new players in, and that's continued into the Premier League era. Looking at them where they are at the moment, they're 11th. They've got 16 points in 13 games. They're going steady. We know Ivan Toney being out injured is, a massive miss. You think of talismanic figures in the Premier League, he is right up there, given the quality he possesses and what he's shown in the Brentford shirt already. But they continue to move up the table steadily. They're 11th at the moment. They've got a good opportunity to break into that top 10. They're a club at a very good place, probably in history, like Luton Town. They're in a very good place at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the medium / long term picture, they're doing excellent and exactly where we've aspired to be in previous years, and we sort of proved that, and we are where they were, say, 3 years ago, and hopefully we can carry on in the journey that they have gone on with getting sort of top half finishes. I think this season's proven a bit tougher for them, as you said. Tony's out, massive player. He for me is almost the heir to the Kane throne, but quite clearly the issue with the betting has meant he's been out for 6 months. So that's a big miss for them. And for me, this year, I think they're just inconsistent. I think they're showing in performances how good they can be, but then there are games like the loss home to Everton. I think what was that 3-1. They just showing that they can be beaten, and on their day that they do have off games, and hopefully they have one against us at the weekend. Certainly weaknesses that we can exploit, but equally certainly they have strengths that we need to guard against. Mbeumo is the one obviously that stands out. Yeah, obviously you have to praise them in terms of the way they've built, because like us, they're not a top 20 club in England. It's like they shouldn't be based on the resources and the behind the scenes stuff, but they've worked way beyond their means like us. So very similar story, and although they shouldn't, based on law of averages, be in the top 20, they deserve to be there. Like us, we deserve to be there. So nothing but praise for them as a club, and nothing against the club at all, but clearly that is put to one side on Saturday for 90 minutes, and that they will try to sort of go 3 points closer to the European places, and we'll try to peg them back and bring them 3 points closer to us.
And looking at their home and away record, there's not really much to sort of give us in terms of how they've performed at home and on the road. 9 points from 7, but I think the key takeaway when looking at the results this season is how they've fared against teams in and around that sort of relegation battle, and that might be a bit of a stretch. Probably those teams that are not competing from Europe, as they've picked up 15 points in 8 games against teams in the bottom 12. You mentioned that Everton game. That's perhaps a bit of an anomaly. You take that out of the equation, they've won 4, drawn 3 against teams from 9 to 20th in the Premier League. So they seem to be a team that can be effective against others, or that either in a similar bracket or a little bit worse than them, sort of as the table speaks, Jamie.
Yeah, for sure, and that's what you'd expect. When you're in that mid-table, you expect to lose to the top 6, and you expect to beat the bottom 14 certainly at home, and the bottom 6 or 7 sort of away as well. Looking at the fixtures or the results, so we beat West Ham, who I think probably haven't done as well recently. I think they've struggled. I think it up until the Forest win, what was it, 5 or 6 games without a win. Brentford away was one of them. Burnley at home 3-0. I think that was one of the more obvious results given how open Burnley are at times. Forest, albeit away, drew 1-1. Everton 3-1, as you mentioned. Bournemouth at home 2-2. Palace at home 1-1. So there definitely is scope there to go there with our heads high and try and get a result. I think, as you say, they're quite clearly, I think, in a stronger position than us because of the years they've had at this level. But I don't think that they can say that they're an informed team. So I guess you look at their results, and bar that 3-game spell where obviously they've beat Burnley, Chelsea, and Brentford, obviously back to back. Liverpool and Arsenal is tough, and you almost write them off. But I still have a belief that they can be got at, and I am fairly positive going into the weekend. And I'm not saying that we're going to go there and get all 3 points. I think a point is absolutely an excellent result. Like obviously a win is what we want, and we go there trying to win it. But if you offered me a draw now, I would absolutely take it, because that's, for me, a point that we're not expecting. Like you got everyone who sort of marked their scorecards in terms of the points that we're going to get this season or need to get to stay up. I think people have put 0 next to Brentford away, and a point therefore at the weekend is a bonus point. And I'm positive that we can go there and not lose.
And we've come across Thomas Frank's Brentford before in the Championship. Of course, a completely different game when you look at the playing squads from the occasions that we played them, but also when coming into the Premier League, obviously Luton have had to adapt. Brentford obviously had to adapt themselves. But looking at when they first came into the Premier League, they were deemed as one of the best teams in top flight football out of possession. They kept a very good shape, and to an extent they continue that. I think against Chelsea, they defended quite deeply, but every player knew their role. It was like a well-oiled machine. They were fantastic in their shape that day. But they've mixed it up as well. They've also dominated the ball, and they've shown a kind of different side to perhaps their first couple of seasons in the Premier League. So I guess what I'm trying to get to is, what do you expect come Saturday? Because typically when teams play Luton, they like to see a lion's share of possession.
Yeah, and I expect just that. As you say, they've transitioned a little bit, and that's the transition that we want to go on. We've mentioned before, Rob Edwards isn't this defensive direct manager. He's shown plenty of times that he wants to attack and be brave and go for teams, and that's the transition that comes with recruiting new players, and they've had the chance to do that. Onyeka in midfield, Visser up top. They've got like Collins, who thankfully is injured the weekend. He's a more of a ball playing defender, whilst also being strong defensively as well. Ayer, who's got great pedigree from Celtic, and I think it was Viking in Norway as well. He was at before. He's had a good journey himself. They've recruited per the system, and that's exactly what you expect Brentford and their recruitment team to do. And therefore, I expect them to not necessarily dominate the ball, but be aggressive in their attack, and they'll be direct but efficiently direct, like us as well. And Mbeumo, the key threat. Visser on the left as well is growing into the league. More Pies come back, and he's probably done a lot better than people thought he would have done, because he didn't do too great at Everton. He's come back and scored a couple of big goals for them. So you have to expect that the away performance from us is going to be almost as it was at United, as it was at Villa, and just trying to get those moments and be brave when we can be brave, but also not making mistakes when they've got the ball, because they'll probably have the lion's share, certainly 60+% of it.
I guess that's the motto. That's sort of been the message going into most away games this season. We don't expect to dominate possession, but we deploy somewhat of a low block. But when we get the ball, it's about how we counter-attack. It's how quick we are, how precise we are in transition. I know that's filtered into a couple of home games against sort of the bigger clubs, the top six, the traditional top six. But I think Brentford, being a team that obviously operated that way during their first couple of seasons in the Premier League, do you think they're going to be better equipped to kind of deal with a counter-attacking, fast breaking style of play, if that's how we choose to play come Saturday?
I think at full strength, yes, they will be, but I think they're missing some key players. I mentioned Collins missing, Hickey, Henry both missing. So two of their key fullbacks are both out, and that for me is massive. Got Jan out at left back and probably Ayer at right back. So whether they transition into a back three with Ayer, who knows? But I think they're probably going to be less equipped at those transitions than they normally would be, and that's no fault of Thomas Frank. That's just the injury position that they're currently in. If they had Henry and Hickey, I think they'd be a lot more secure at the back from that perspective. But you just look at potential matchups, right? Ogbene, fastest player in the league, against Yano or Ayer, you'd certainly back him to win in that foot race. Chong, I think, deserves a start as well. Agile, quick. He's shown how good he can be in transition with that goal, and then also that break from Eli at the end. So yeah, I think we can get some good joy, especially from like a corner. Well, especially from like a Brentford corner perspective. You'll bring everyone back, and I think we can certainly counter or maybe winning the ball high at the pitch. So I think we do have the assets that can hurt Brentford, and that is why I'm fairly positive, is because we've got the players, the Ogbenes, the Barclays in midfield. I think they've got a very creative midfield three, especially with Norgard and Jensen in it. And I think Barkley in recent weeks is showing exactly that he is as good as them. Not sure the position with Nakamba. Hopefully he is back, but if he is, that's a big boost for us as well. So hopefully he is back, and hopefully Kabore is too, because he will just add that extra strength going forwards.
And this is the difficult part when obviously doing these podcasts a few days before or a day before team news comes out. It makes it difficult to know who will be available and subsequently who we expect to start. But what do you envision the key battle? I know you sort of briefly mentioned it there in terms of where Brentford have injury issues, where they might have slight issues in terms of personnel. But where do you see the key battles being come Saturday? Because we've got a player in Chio Ogbene that this segment is typically dedicated to, because it is always about who he's coming up against and where he's going to cause a threat. But obviously there's a lot of attacking threat coming from Luton at the moment, and that can be evidenced from the last few games. But equally, there is a player in Bryan Mbeumo. There's creative talents in Jensen. You've got Jan out as well that can cause problems. I know we mentioned him in a defensive perspective there, but he can also contribute going forward. Where do you think is vital? What areas of the pitch are vital come Saturday?
I think defensively, I mean, it depends on where players start, but with Mbeumo on that white channel, I think we have to play Doughty there, and I think that's a big battle. Is can Doughty cope with the threat of him going forwards, and then on the other side, can he then counter and try and push him back? So I think that Doughty and Mbeumo battle is massive. Mentioned Chio, I would love to see him on the right, whether that's right wing back because you've moved Doughty to the left and you don't quite want to put Osho or Mengi at sort of that more defensive wing back role, or whether you stick him on that right wing against Jano 1-on-1. I think the Ogbene Jano battle is going to be massive. Then aside from that, I mean, I back Lockyer and Mengi and Osho to be able to deal with Morpie and then the more advanced midfielder. So then it's the other side. Pinnock and me that like the central partnership, unless they decide to put Ruslev at right back, then they'll probably put Ayer in the middle with potentially me. But either way, I back the centre forwards. For me, it's time for Eli now, and I think if Eli does get that nod finally after deserving it, I think he can cause them a lot of threat, especially against your Pinnock or me. I think Ayer's a much more Premier League adept centre back, but against an Ethan Pinnock, I really do back Eli to have not necessarily the better of it, but cause him some problems, and especially with potentially Chio and Chong and Eli as a front three, I can really see that working to our advantage.
Let's go on to a score prediction, Jamie.
I don't want to go against the positivity by saying a draw. You know, I would absolutely take a draw, and I think a 1-1 or a 0-0 is more than acceptable. I think, in fact, it would be a fantastic point. But I think it's about time Kaminsky gets his clean sheet, and I think this weekend is time to get that. So I just think that we can nick it. I mean, the amount of goals we score in the last 15 minutes, what was it, 8 out of 12? We scored 2/3 or whatever it is in the last 15 minutes. So a late winner, do you reckon? 1-0 Luton? Let's go with that.
I like that. I'm sticking on the theme of late winners, but I'm going to go 2-1. Poor Kaminsky still without a clean sheet. I feel so sorry for him, considering how impressive he has been since making the move from Blackburn. Yeah, I'm going to go 2-1. I think we're starting to really show that we're a Premier League side. And I think even when we did secure positive results, it was seen as, you know, massive. Obviously, our first Premier League point was a massive occasion. Our first victory, massive. Our first home Premier League victory, massive. But I think now we've got those sort of, you could even call them burdens out of the way. Those things that sort of can hold you back. I'm sure we're going to start seeing the proper Luton. I think we've progressed in such a way. We've progressed, I believe, so much quicker than the other promoted clubs that there's still this notion that you know the promoted clubs are struggling. I just think that we are mentally we are there. And that is probably the best. It is probably the best position we've been in since promotion. I think this is the strongest we've looked. We've got players that are, you know, we speak about players like Barkley and Mengi, those players that they weren't in the plans the first couple of games. They weren't sort of fully up to speed, but now they're returning performances that are of such a high quality. And I think I go back to what Rob Edwards was saying the other week, where we haven't hit our ceiling yet, and I still think there's growing. I still think there's more to come from us, and I think Brentford's going to be another step towards the sort of finished product. I'm going to go 2-1, and hopefully we're talking about back-to-back victories in the Premier League. How good would that be, Jamie? Let's go on. Well, we're going to head into a short break, and when we're back, we've got 2 tenable lists for Jamie to try his hand at. We are back for part 2 of today's episode, and now we've got the Brentford preview, the tough stuff out of the way. Let's do a bit of tenable, Jamie Castle. We've seen them online. We're seeing it on the TV. We'll try our hand of it. Unfortunately, it's just you today. Usually, when Kieran's alongside you or somebody else alongside you, it makes it it eases the pressure, I think, somewhat. So. Yeah, all on your own today, Jamie.
So you're our very own Warwick Davies, are you? Yeah.
Yeah, just that little bit taller.
Not much though.
Well, the first one, Jamie. First one. I don't know if this is one to ease you in. We'll see how you get on with it. But I want the last 10 LTFC goal scorers. But that's excluding penalties, and we're just talking league.
Okay. So you got Jacob Brown.
Jacob Brown is number 1.
Tida Mengi.
number 2.
Tahith Chong.
Tahith Chong number 3.
So that goes before Liverpool. Who was that before Liverpool? Let's try and think. Forest. So you got Eli Adebayo.
Number 4.
Chirag Bene.
Number 5.
Before Forest. I mean, Carlton Morris has definitely scored in the Prem.
Number 6. So you've got so you've got 7, 8, 9, and 10 to go. So the ones that were before that Morris goal.
Either playoffs, league, or cup.
League.
So Jordan Clark and Tom Lockyer.
Yep. So that's 7 and 9. So you're looking for 8 and 10.
Gabe Osho.
Osho is number 10. So you're looking for number 8.
So Clark was final. Lockyer and Osho was Sunderland at home. So Sunderland away. Wasn't that Clicker too, Sunderland away?
So for context, so you've got Lockyer at 7.
Yeah.
And then you've got Clark at 9. So you're looking at something that was more recent than Clark's Wembley winner.
Okay. But surely the next league goal after Clark's Wembley, well, not winner, but first goal is going to be the Carlton Morris. That's the penalty, isn't it? So that's penalty. Chelsea.
Yeah, but you've already got Morris in at number 6. So if it's the same player,
yeah, but you said Morris was non-penalty, so therefore it wasn't the Brighton goal, which was Morris. It was his only open play goal.
Yeah.
So that means it would have been West Ham at home. Who scored that one? Mads Anderson.
There you go. That's a completed list. That is a completed list. So for the second one, we are also looking for scorers, but this might stretch your mind back a little bit further. I'm looking for the last 10 Luton Town playoff scorers. So again, penalties. If the game went on to penalties, those goals don't count. It's goals scored within either the 90 or 120 minutes.
But penalties within those games count.
Sorry?
But penalties within those games count.
Yes.
So actual spot kicks from the 120 minutes. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So obviously I'll repeat Clark, Lockyer, Osho.
Yes, that is your top 3.
So then our previous players before that would have been the Blackpool. So Danny Hilton.
Danny Hilton is your number 6.
Number 6. So there's 4 and 5. There's 2 more recent than Danny Hilton.
There is.
Blimey.
This is the one that is definitely a thinker because you have to go back and then you start doubting yourself. And even me writing these answers, I had to really doubt myself and make sure there was no games in between. And yeah, if you can get all 10 instantaneously, then wow, that is impressive.
And I've only got 1 life, right? So if I get 1 wrong, I'm out.
I'll give you another one. I'll let you have 2 lives.
Trying to think you scored at Blackpool away because didn't someone score but then got knocked out, had to wear a headband? I think I can guess who it is, but I don't want to use my life just yet. Blackpool. I mean, technically own goal, right? Is that one? Are you counting own goals?
I haven't counted the own goal. Counted the own goal.
Okay, I'm going to go. I'll just go for Blackpool away. So I'm gonna guess Dan Potts.
Dan Potts is in at number 9.
Number 9, okay. God, this is tough, you know.
So
Good one.
just to go back through it, you've got 1, 2, 3 so far. You've got number 6 and you've got number 9. So we're looking at 4 and 5. We're looking at 7 and 8, and we're looking at 10. I'll start giving slight hints in terms of
Yeah.
timing wise, if you continue to struggle.
Yeah.
To be fair, 5 out of 10 so far is not a bad effort.
Yeah. My mind's gone black from the Blackpool the Blackpool home one. I'm pretty sure Hilt's got 2. It's just who got the third because it was 3-2. I'm gonna go for Elliot Lee, you know.
Elliot Lee is unfortunately not right.
Okay.
So I'll give you a hint. I'll go in order. So obviously we had Jordan Clark, Tom Lockyer, Gabe Osho.
Yeah.
So Gabe Osho covers the first goal against Sunderland, and of course we score at their place. We scored one.
So that's someone
So
different.
it's who scored that one?
Oh.
Yeah.
Eli?
It's when Kieran. It was Eli. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. It was a scrappy goal.
Yeah.
And Kieran took a chunk out of my.
Yeah, in that moment, my mind went back to the celebration where Eli was just like that, wasn't he? Up to the heavens. So yeah, cool.
Yeah. So we're now looking for number 5. So Eli was number 4. We've got a missing one here, and then we've got Danny Hilton. So it's beyond that 2016-17 Blackpool campaign. When was the next playoff campaign beyond 16-17?
Oh, Huddersfield, of course. Fucking hell. So that was Sonny Bradley.
That was Sonny Bradley. So you've got 1 to 6, and you've got 9. Next one. I'm struggling to remember the actual goal itself. But yeah, we're back to Blackpool now.
Was 9? 9 was Blackpool away, wasn't it? At Bloomfield Road, Potsy.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
I believe 7.
You researched it, mate.
Yeah. Brief.
Briefly. Okay. Given number of goals he scored, I'm going to go James Collins.
Unfortunately, again, that's not correct.
Okay.
So I'll continue to give you clues, and we'll fill in the rest of the board. So this one, this was the home game. So this is number 7, I believe. Yeah. Centre back. He also played for Stevenage.
Oh, not Scotty Cuthbert.
Scotty Cuthbert.
He scored, did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did right on half time. And then the other one was the return. It was the fixture at Blackpool.
Yeah.
A player that did not have luck with injuries whatsoever. I couldn't even tell you what he's doing now, but he was fantastic for us for a very short period of time.
Izzy Brown?
No.
No. Yeah,
it plays with your mind, doesn't it?
This is tough. I just thought of who was good for us and who was injured, but quite clearly he wasn't in that team, so that was stupid of me. Who was in that League 2 team? Who was injured all the time? This is tough.
Another clue I'll give you. We got him from non-league, if I remember rightly. I think it was from non-league, down southwest way. And we sold him to the Championship. I think it was Birmingham. Is it Birmingham?
What?
But he's also played for Cardiff.
That's just adding to my confusion, mate, to be honest.
Powerful striker, quick, but also very powerful and physical.
I think it's gone.
No. Isaac Vassell.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, go on.
It's one of those where when you get more information, as you were saying, it adds to confusion. You just find yourself in a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got 1 to 9.
It was Birmingham. It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Cardiff, of course, yeah.
So we've got 1 to 9. That takes care of our playoff campaigns as a Football League club. So we're now dipping back to non-league football.
So the last one would have been, the order always gets me. So it would have been York semi-final year 1 where we got knocked out. Then it would have been York final, the one after that, right? Then it would have been Wimbledon final, the one after that. That's the order, right?
No.
The order always gets me.
Yeah. So it was you're right with the York semi-final was first, and then I believe it was the Wimbledon final.
Then it was the York
and
final.
York final.
So therefore, the goal scorer was Andre Gray in that final, wasn't it?
It was Andre Gray. That is all 10. He scored after 2 minutes, sending us Hatters into dreamland. Yeah, very early, too early as it proved to be. Well, that is it. Thank you for playing Tenable, Jamie. It's hopefully we can get a few.
Show myself up a little bit, I think.
I think it's okay. Yeah, I think you've done all right. Getting the first list completed quickly was good stuff, and then the second one is testing your memory. Everyone watching or listening, is there a game you want us to try? Do you enjoy these Tenables? Let us know in the comments. DM us, let us know. But until after this Brentford game we were speaking about, it is goodbye from us.